And it's because we don't have this sense of boundaries. The right-hand path, at least for me, strips me of my individual uniqueness and my sense of boundaries, both to honor my own boundaries, communicate those and enforce those, and to recognize that other people also have the right to boundaries. If the primary boundary that separates us, because we're all one and this separation is only an illusion, if that boundary is gone, then it's impossible to set any other kind of healthy boundaries. Hi, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Aaron Tomlinson. And on this video, I want to continue my thoughts on the left-hand path and the right-hand path. I want to thank everybody for their engagement on the videos that I've been doing. I'm still working a day job and I've got kids and they're getting back into school and just a lot going on. So I'm not able to reply to the comments. I just don't have time to devote to that right now. But I do read the comments and I find all of them to be insightful. I especially appreciate the comments on the last video I did on the left-hand path and the different perspectives that were being shared. And I want to use that actually, not just to thank you for your engagement, but also use that as a way of explaining some of the differences between the left-hand path and the right-hand path, and why I find the left-hand path to be an advantageous spiritual path for humanity and the one that I resonate with the most. Now, someone in the comments had pointed out that, I'm paraphrasing the way I understood the comment, but had pointed out that the left-hand path and the right-hand path don't really exist as paths. And to a certain degree, that person is correct in my view and in my opinion, because these are all just metaphors that we're using. When you start talking about spiritual things, when you start talking about occult things or things that are hidden or invisible, oftentimes we have to use symbolism as a map. We have to describe the territory, but the description of the territory is not the territory itself. Thus, Alfred Korzybski's famous quote from his book, written in the 1930s, Science and Sanity, "The map is not the territory." But if you haven't watched the previous video, I'd recommend that you watch it so that you have some background on left-hand path and right-hand path. But if you don't want to take time to do that, let me just describe it quickly in the nutshell, the way that I understand it and the way that I'm using the terms. When it comes to spirituality, what I would call right-hand path spirituality is a path of conformity. It's a path of conforming to certain traditions, certain teachings, philosophies, doctrines, etc., that usually involves a group and oftentimes involves some kind of a leader of that group, some kind of a guru, someone that you have to obey or submit to. We see this in both Western religions and in Eastern religions as well. But it's about conformity, and it's about oneness, and it's about union, becoming one with God, union with the group. There's a lot of groupthink in there. We can't think differently than the group on certain cherished elements of whatever the teachings are of that path or of that particular group. And it's seeking to put oneself in harmony, like I said, either with God or with the universe or with the laws of nature, whatever the case may be. It's about unification. It's about harmonization. And really, let's be honest, in a lot of religious circles, it's about don't rock the boat. The left-hand path, on the other hand, is about unique self-expression. It's about illumination about the self and then liberation of that self. And then you could say deification or exaltation or full expression of your unique self. And this is where I think the left-hand path has some advantages. And it's why I'm pointing out the comments, because when someone is truly devoted to a left-hand path type of expression, when they're truly devoted to their own illumination about themselves, the liberation of their uniqueness, and the full expression, letting their light shine, so to speak, or letting their unique soul code or soul signature be expressed in their lives the way that they choose to express it through the acts of their own individual will, then there also comes with that, inherently in that, unless you're just a, really not a very nice person, or yeah. Um, there comes a natural respect, a natural honoring. When I honor my own path, when I honor my own self-expression, when I honor my own way, it just becomes natural and easy for me to understand that I don't expect anyone else to conform to my ways, to conform to my way of thinking, or to conform to my ideas or my beliefs. And so it causes me, inherently built in that, it causes me to show that same kind of honor to other people. And so if someone has a viewpoint that is different than mine, or someone has a viewpoint that's critical of mine, I realize that my viewpoint is constantly growing through illumination, liberation, and exaltation, right? So I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly expanding, so I can honor that other view and opinion. I can honor that difference and see it as something not that's a threat to me, but as something that brings value and expansion to my quest for the full expression of the self. So the right-hand path has to do with denying yourself, disowning yourself, following a guru, submitting to spiritual authorities, conforming yourself to a doctrine, a tradition, or a teaching, whereas the left-hand path is a spiritual path that is more about finding out, again, my unique expression, my uniqueness, my light. And so I use day and night to delineate those paths. Now, we all experience night and we all experience day, right? I guess unless maybe you work a graveyard shift or something and you sleep during the day in the winter, or if you live in Alaska or someplace like that, maybe you don't experience those rhythms as consistently throughout the seasons, but it's all part of one cycle. It's all part of one turning of the earth, right? And so you can't separate these things as though they are at odds with one another, or saying that one's right and one's wrong, or one's better than one and this other one is not as good. However we choose to think about that or express that. But one of the things that really never, I could never resonate with, never clicked for me, or was just not part of something that I wanted to incorporate in my personal spiritual path, was this idea of oneness, and that we're all one, and that separation, this is the important part, that separation is all an illusion, and it's all a byproduct of ego, which is something that we're supposed to get rid of, or something that we're supposed to transcend, so that we realize this oneness with everyone. So if I do something to me, if I do something to you, then I'm also doing it to me, because we're one and there is no separation. There's only the illusion of separation. Now, here's the problem that I see with that. First of all, that's only a concept that we can embrace, because we all know that we have what Bernardo Kastrup calls a dissociative boundary that is around us in terms of our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own desires, and our own imaginations. There's what he calls a dissociative boundary. There's a boundary that can't be crossed. And materialists use this as an argument to say that everything, that consciousness is simply a byproduct of the brain, or what goes on behind the skull. But here's the point of it. You cannot really know what I am thinking or what I am feeling through ESP. And I can't really know what you're really thinking or what you're really feeling, because we're one, and there's just this illusion of separation, and we can transcend this illusion of separation and then realize that we're all just one thing, or one being. So that is a very basic, fundamental, and self-evident boundary. And for me, the teachings on oneness, and I could very well be misunderstanding them. I will grant anyone on here that I'm not as enlightened or as educated on these things as you are, and that very well may be true. However, this boundary, this basic boundary of, you can't know what I'm thinking or feeling unless I communicate it to you, and I can't know what you're thinking and feeling unless you somehow communicate that with me, and we're communicating with authenticity, and we're communicating with integrity, then if we try to erase that boundary, even conceptually, because people cannot erase that boundary experientially. Anybody that tells you that they have come into enlightenment of oneness in that they have experienced or are experiencing on an ongoing basis oneness, then they should be able to read everyone's mind and know everything about everything in the universe. And we know that's not true. We have these dissociative boundaries that are unique to our existence. So no one can step inside of me and fully know me. I can only try to fully get to know myself, because I'm the only entity that I can get to fully know and understand. I can't get to fully know and understand you. I can only know snippets of you. I can only know snapshots of you. I can only have video clips or highlight films of you based on what you share. And the same goes for you with me. So there's a boundary. When we start talking about oneness, when we choose this right-hand path and say that we are all one and that we're all being absorbed into the same thing, the same energy, the same teachings, the same belief systems, there comes with that then an automatic element of superiority and inherent disrespect for people who have views and ideas and paths that are different than our own. So just like I was saying on the left-hand path, when I'm committed to a spirituality that allows me to fully know myself and know my place and know my path and know my unique soul code and purpose and meaning and all of these different things, my strengths and my weaknesses. And when that illumination of self comes, and then that liberation of self comes, where I realize I begin to honor and value my individual uniqueness over and against the group, not just for the sake of doing that, but where there is a group think, or there is a group value, or there is a way that the group is going that violates something that is a very deep core value, belief, or idea of my own. I'm not going to lay down and sacrifice that unique value or idea or belief for the sake of the group. So inherently built in that then is this idea that not everyone has to be like me. Not everyone has to think like me. We don't all have to believe the same things. So built into that left-hand path approach, there is an automatic fruit that comes from that, where I respect and honor other people for their unique expression as well. If I'm on the right-hand path, and if I'm too much into this oneness thing, then what happens is there is an inherent superiority that's built into it, because we have the truth, we have the way, we have the life. There's only one direction and one way that you can go. And so there is an inherent disrespect for everybody else's views or opinions or ideas or paths or beliefs or expressions that may be totally different or totally contrary than our own, which is why I believe that there are so many people on social media and YouTube and a plethora of platforms, right, who are giving expression to love and light and to oneness, and yet push back and resist and can't even see really diversity. They can't see and honor diversity. So they don't see color. They don't want to deal with maybe some of the social justice issues that we face consistently, have faced in humanity and societies since the beginning of humanity and societies, and that we face today and that we will continue to face. And so there is a diminishing of that. There is a downgrading of that, or we're not able to celebrate people or try to understand people or appreciate people who maybe have a different sexual orientation than we do, or have a different understanding of their own gender expression. So I find that people on the left-hand path are much more open to equality for all. They're much more open. They're open. I want to emphasize that point. They're more open for equality for all than a lot of the people that are on the right-hand path of oneness and love and light, because they want everyone to see things the way that they see it, because they have the truth and they want everyone to conform to that. And that's a big problem that we have in our society. And it's because we don't have these this sense of boundaries. The right-hand path, at least for me, strips me of my individual uniqueness and my sense of boundaries, both to honor my own boundaries, communicate those and enforce those, and to recognize that other people also have the right to boundaries. If the primary boundary that separates us, because we're all one and this separation is only an illusion, if that boundary is gone, then it's impossible to set any other kind of healthy boundaries. So as a student of psychology as well, from a psychological perspective, a person cannot form healthy, lasting relationships with other people, or make good contact with other people, or even serve and benefit other people in a way that actually serves them and benefits them, if they have not first made good contact with themselves. They know who they are, they know what they're about, and they're able to stand for that and to communicate that. So this pathway allows for better contact and better relationships. It allows you to actually serve people, because when I was on the right-hand path of Christianity, I thought I was serving people by trying to get them to believe like me, because I thought I had the truth. I thought I was saving their souls. It sounds ridiculous to me now, but I thought that I was doing that. And yet that other person was experiencing me as an offense to them. They were experiencing me as someone who was violating their boundaries, not honoring their boundaries. And so for me, as a journeyer, as a sojourner on this left-hand path, then it's not only about discovering and expressing myself, but it's also about listening to other people to try to understand them without projecting my own way of thinking, my own assumptions, my own values, and my own belief system upon them. And in that way, then we can have a much more expansive view of the world and of life and of one another, and we can serve each other better, because I can find out where is the area that you really have need, where is the area that you want to be served, and is there something that I have to offer that can be of service to you. So in many ways, for me, the left-hand path is more the path of service than the right-hand path ever was for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, share. If this resonates with you, comment, let me know. I'm going to be making more videos along these lines, because the last few that I've done have had better engagement. And so again, I want to listen. I want to serve, not just do what I think's best, but paying attention to what's happening on the channel. So again, thank you for listening. If you haven't joined our New Day Global Facebook community and you'd like to do that, the link is in my bio. I'm doing videos that are exclusively for people who join that group. All you have to do is join the group. You do have to answer the questions. So there's a list of questions there and agreements that we are sharing as a community, because every community is built on some set of agreements. And so if you don't answer those, or if you tried to join the group and you didn't get admission into the group, then either you didn't see the questions, you didn't answer the questions, or for some reason on our end, it's showing that you didn't answer the questions. So you might have to try to rejoin. Just make sure you answer those questions. And again, this is Aaron Tomlinson from Conscious Spirituality. Thanks for being with me. And I hope that you will be blessed, that you'll be prosperous, and that you will live your best life.